To another episode of RELICS Radio. This is a family-friendly show, so the entire family can join us as we talk metal detecting, relic, and treasure hunting. You can also call into the show at 270-495-0315 or join in the chat and post any comments or questions you might have. RELICS Radio is available live on the Spreaker app, but it's also archived wherever you get your podcast. You're listening to RELICS Radio. And you are listening to another episode of RELICS Radio. Good to have you on here tonight. I see the chat's all lighting up. And I am your host, Diggin with 7 out of Southern Kentucky. And I'm joined by my co-host, DK, out of Colorado. What's going on, DK?
Hey there, 7. Hey, good to talk to you here on a Thursday night. And good to see everyone showing up here in the chat room, boy. It's already lighting up. I've seen we got Bill over Ohio Relic Hunter was the first one in tonight. Detecting Smith shortly behind him. We got Mark Gilla Gorilla.
You never know about that guy, do you?
You never know about him. You just always got to just show up and see what he's bringing. Yeah. Nick Haas, good to see you there, buddy. Bill Hayes in the house, 5280 Adventures. Tony, how you doing? Great to see everyone showing up here. Nelson Saunders, and I'm sure they'll start filing in left and right. So how have you been, 7?
I've been good. I've been busy, obviously, with all of the broadcasts that I do and all the live streams and everything. But, you know, my biggest fear, and everybody in the chat knows that I'm 150 years old. My biggest fear was that I was going to live long enough that, I wouldn't have any purpose in life. But I'm busier now than I've ever been. And so I guess that beats the alternative. But, hope.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I know. Hope everybody is well. Hope everybody in our community has escaped this virus. And I know that a lot of places, most places are now trying to reopen, trying to get back to a little bit of normalcy. So that is a good thing. And I'll just tell you the honest truth. I don't know anyone in the community that has had a problem with coronavirus. Do you?
Not personally, nope. I don't. None of my family. I've heard stories. I'm in the construction industry in my personal life, and I've heard of people at job sites have come down with the virus and stuff, and it has really kind of impacted our industry. But other than that, no, nobody personally or nobody close to me.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully for me as well. So that's a good thing, to not know anybody that has it. In fact, our county has only had 6 people that have had it, and 4 of those are not even from the county here. They just moved in. So, we've done well. Of course, we're in a small town in a rural community and a lot of outdoors and everything. So, we've survived. Sure have.
Yeah. They still haven't occupied that emergency hospital I built. They still haven't put anybody in there. So I guess that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. But, it's also a good thing that you guys built that and had that capability in case, God forbid that there is a second wave of this in the fall. We wouldn't want that. There's no doubt.
Right.
Yep. Got a great show lined up tonight. We've promoted everywhere. I know that I've talked to several people that have messaged me and talked about how excited that they were to be able to get in here tonight. Some of them are going to call in. Some of them will have questions in the chat. We just want to let you know that we're going to open the phone lines early tonight. And so we're going to be taking your calls, but we will also take your calls on or take your questions in chat. We'll be trying to monitor that, me and DK both. And so if you've got some for our guest tonight, and I guess we ought to tell everybody who we got, haven't we, DK?
Yeah. Tonight we got a great guest on with us. You know, it's probably had a very, very busy week, probably a busy couple months, to be honest with you, leading up to this. Tonight we have Steve Moore on the show with us tonight. He's the marketing director for Garrett Metal Detectors, and I want to welcome him to the show. Steve, how you doing? Welcome to RELICS Radio.
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks so much for having me on tonight. It's a pleasure to be here.
It just seems like it's just been 2 or 3 days since me and you talked, hasn't it, Steve?
It almost feels like we've talked once this week already, but I'm just getting old and forgetful, probably,
Steve was on Relic Roundup Monday night with me and Jeff Lubert and Butch Holcomb and the American Digger Show, and did a great job, and a lot of interest there. Now, I know that we've got a little bit of mix to where some of the people that were on that show and listened to that show will be on this show, but we also have some different people. So, Steve, we kind of started out on the show there Monday night. Just give everybody just a brief overview of the new Garrett ACE APEX.
Yeah, certainly. So this is going to be what I would call the pinnacle of our affordable detection line. This APEX is above and beyond anything we've done with ACE. It's a little more complex. It's got a lot of things going on, but at the same time, it's not overly complicated to where you're hearing all the kind of things you hear with an AT Max that can be challenging to certain people. It has a hybrid audio system, which means it's got the simplicity of binary audio, good, clean, consistent targets, but with some of the deeper, fainter stuff, you'll get just a whisper of the proportional audio on some of the targets. So it's a little bit of a crossover, which is going to mean some more depth and some great performance, very fast target separation, better than any previous ACEs, comparable to a lot of other stuff out there. But really, there's been a lot of buzz in the industry on multi-frequency and all that kind of good stuff. So we listen. We may not be the first to jump out the gate and react, but we finally got around to it, and we've heard for 2 or 3 years now that our customers would really like to have more choices. So our goal was to have a machine with complete flexibility involved with it. So in this case, you have 6 frequency options, 4 single independent frequencies, 5, 10, 15, or 20 kilohertz, each one of which is going to offer very good detection on different size and conductivities of targets. Or you can switch over to 2 of the simultaneous multi-frequencies. One is, as advertised there, simultaneous multi-frequency, a blend of multiple frequencies, so it's going to help overcome different terrain and soil conditions, as well as give you excellent visibility on all targets across the board. Or the other multi-mode is one geared for saltwater. So when you get down to that wet salt sand beach, it's going to give you some additional help there that we've heard from Garrett customers over the years that they'd like to see us put in some kind of mode to tackle that. So addressing a lot of things there, adding a lot of stuff to a more affordable detector such as backlight, built-in Z-Link wireless, iron audio. The APEX also has a very powerful feature that some of the others selling for less than $500 don't give you, and that's a full range of ground balance that you can control by ground balancing yourself when you need to. And it's got a full 175-point resolution, which is the same as our much higher-end AT Max. So it pulls from features all across the board and pulls in a lot of features that don't exist on our other detectors currently. One of my personal favorites is the iron volume. I like iron audio to get into house sites and find those hot spots out in the big plowed fields. But it can give me a headache after a while hearing all that crackling and popping of all that iron sound. Yeah. So with this one, I can just ratchet it down, turn down the iron, and then hear the good stuff coming through the iron. So a lot of cool stuff like that, but, without killing your whole show talking about it, that's in a nutshell what some of the high points are on APEX. I suspect we'll get a couple more questions later, so I'll leave that to anybody that has questions and let you guys continue forward for a little bit here.
It sounds like it's feature rich. You know what I mean? Like
it is.
Yeah,
definitely loaded with features for the price. In my opinion, I think it's going to be hard pressed to find something out there. There's others at different price points that may have this, that ours doesn't have that, but for the flexibility of 6 frequency choices and all that, it's a very powerful contender out there this year.
When's the last time Garrett came out with a new machine in the sport division? Was that the Max?
Yeah, that was the last full-blown one, so that's been 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Unfortunately for us, we have multi-divisions. We've got our countermine, ERW, Explosive Remnants of War, which is more military, and then we have a huge amount of business on security. So as you can imagine, the past couple of years, we've had to stop and work on some different walkthroughs and other software products because of school safety. That got to be a huge issue. And so we've really been working with schools, not just collegiate level, but K-12 level. And it's just important. I mean, everybody is now more fired up than ever to protect our kids. And, yeah, they're on a little bit of a break right now from schooling, but that doesn't mean security is not still a forefront issue for a lot of people to look into how are we going to do it better next year when they come back to keep the guns and the knives and the big weapons out of the schools.
Right.
So we're multifaceted. I wish we moved faster on products sometimes than we do, but I think we're starting a more committed effort here to get going with this new product, and I think you'll see more fun things to come from Garrett over the next couple of years in the sports side.
It always has to be an exciting time when you guys come out with a new product like this. I can't imagine what your job has been like over the last couple of months. I know you guys, I'd heard, and you maybe can confirm it, that maybe you were planning originally on revealing this machine at the event this last year, and then you guys kind of had to change things up because of the whole COVID thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, from a marketing standpoint, our world's been turned upside down, so everything's changed. You know how it is. There's a lot of big round of events in the spring, and there's big events in the fall, and not quite as many in the summer. So we had the Charles Garrett Memorial Hunt that we had to cancel literally within 2 weeks of having it in March. And we had several large rallies overseas where we'd really planned to run the Apex out and have contests and all kinds of fun stuff. And we kind of had to stop and regroup and figure out what to do. So we kind of came up with the idea of let's just go broadcast this thing on the internet. Let's go live, and anybody that wants to watch it can watch it. And it was cool to actually get out to that many more people, tons and tons of people in more countries than I can count. I think we had more than 100 countries signed up last time I looked at the roster. And those are just the ones that I could count that registered. So it was great, a lot of good feedback, and we got to field a few questions. We tried to keep it less than 1 hour, so a lot of people probably had questions that didn't get to, but hey, maybe a couple of them will call in tonight and ask those questions, Yeah,
that'd be awesome. I know I was there, and it was definitely done real well. I like the way you guys paced it. I like the interaction or the difference between sort of your presentation and then who was the gentleman that was doing the technical side of things from an engineering standpoint? What was his name?
Well, we had our CEO, Steve Novakovich, that was kind of on the set with me in a different room. Of course, with COVID, I got to be in one set and he's got to be in the other, so we had to distance ourselves. But Brent Weaver is a design engineer with Garrett. He goes back more than 30 years with the company, and Mr. Garrett and Bob Podrosky hired him years ago, and he came out of college and got his master's, and he grew up in metal detecting. His dad was good friends with Mr. Garrett, and his dad still runs around and tests things for us. So he's got detecting in the blood. So he knows more than I'll ever learn in my lifetime about detecting,
Yeah.
Hey, guys, we're coming up on a commercial break, but we've got about 2 minutes, and we've got a question that Little Dirt Digger put in there. And, Steve, she's wanting to know how short does the shaft go down. She says, I'm asking for a friend. Laugh out loud.
Yeah, it is comparable to the other ACE detectors. I have to look real quick. I can't remember what I'll look that up on the break and let you know on the other side. But we do have a mid-shaft section that we sell for ACEs where you could potentially trade that out and shorten that down So let Miss Emily know. I'll look at that and see if I can get that answer while we're on break here in a second.
Okay. All right.
She just commented that she has used a saw before.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to admit once in a while I just don't know the answer, but I'll go look it up.
Okay.
Instead of making it up, I'll go try to figure it out,
Okay, then. Yeah, let's just go ahead and go to a break, and we'll be right back, folks, with Steve Moore from Garret Metal Detectors. I'm excited to announce that Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors has rejoined RELICS Radio as a sponsor. As a multi-line dealer, Tim carries several brands of detectors and accessories, and he's ready to serve all of your metal detecting needs. I'll give you his contact info in a minute. So why did RELICS Radio go back to Tim Henderson as our dealer sponsor? 3 very important reasons. First, I often hunt with Tim, so I know firsthand that he uses what he sells, and he prides himself with great customer service and support. Second, Tim goes the extra mile in helping the new detectorist determine exactly what they need to get started. He will not try and sell you some high-priced product if that's not what you need. And at the same time, Tim can serve the seasoned detectorist with their upgrades or new product questions. And finally, Tim won't leave you hanging after the sale. He's just a phone call away for any questions or specialized training needs. So, you can call Tim directly at 615-948-4611, or you can email him at tjhenderson@comcast.net. And Tim is not only our dealer of choice, but he's also a very good friend of mine. Him and Ron Reed, they are my diving partners. And I can't wait until we can get back in the water and strap the scuba gear on and get to metal detecting and just enjoying diving. Did you find the answer to that, Steve, or did we give you enough time?
I know on the basic adjustment on that, it's 43 inches, and there is a junior shaft size. I think Miss Emily knows about that, and I was just trying to flip through here, and I hadn't found it, but it's not very expensive. They can give us a shout on customer service, and if you put the junior shaft on any of these detectors of this style, it shortens it down a good number of inches, so I think it'd be more along what she's looking for.
Okay. That's great then. Great news. Go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, if I was in customer service, I'd have all these answers on my fingertips, but sometimes I just don't know all of them right offhand.
I was really surprised that I answered a question that you didn't know, because you did a great job and never skipped a beat the other night. And but there's just so many questions that can come at you. And unless you've got all the specs there, it's a little hard to have them all committed to memory.
Yeah, I was just looking at, we call it the junior stem kit assembly, but I don't see off the top of my head how much that adjusts the total length or the height of the machine. So my bad for not knowing that. I guess I'll have to learn that one tomorrow, right?
Hey, Steve, do you... Are you planning on marketing this and selling it in all the big box stores and stuff like that? Like, I can see it really selling well, in some of the big box stores right now where you guys are selling a lot of the ACE products probably.
We're real careful with that. Some of our older products in different countries are, on some of the big box places like that, but we're not a big push on it. We do have some of the chains, such as Cabela's, that will carry our products. Whether this one will go into some of the chains immediately, it remains to be the sales group's call on that, but our focus initially is going to be stock our distribution and our dealers out there and let them get these out to people's hands. Over time, if they opt to get into some of the chains like that, they'll have those discussions. There's some hobby kind of stores that carry some of the ACE detectors, so I would imagine some stores will have it, but it's not like we're going to go put it on all the shelves in Walmart and sell it in that kind of mass quantity. So it would be limited, but initially it's just going to be dealers and distributors that currently work with us
Right.
Because we've already got a pretty healthy demand on this baby so far. So
I can imagine. Do you? Is there any plans right now to discontinue any of the other ACE models?
that's a discussion point. If we want to bring other features into this type case, this type box that has the rechargeable battery, and that was one of the other things I didn't mention on this was changing it up, having such a lightweight by having a rechargeable battery. I think that's going to be popular. I think you'll see us have some other machines with that capability. And over time, it could replace some of the ACEs, but we're going to look at it careful. We're not going to pull something out from under a dealer that still wants to actively sell a ACE 300 or 400 or something like that. So it'll be a slow process, whatever we choose to do, and it'll be based on feedback and results from the field. So
yeah,
we try to listen,
Talking about that rechargeable battery, is it going to be exchangeable? Like, is it going to be like, it's kind of wearing out or whatever, I can order another one and pop that thing open and throw a new one in there? Or is it really not designed to be messed with like that?
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy switch out for the customer level. It would be something for a Garret service center, but they're designed to get many years of use on these. And I think some of the other brands that have done this will kind of be in the same situation where the detector needs to go to a certified Garret service center to have that battery replaced. But it's not something that you would expect to have replaced every 2 years or so. It's going to have much longer life. I'm not going to quote what that life is, but I know that as long as you charge it, they say on the minimum of just once a year, then you get good life out of it. If you take a product with a rechargeable battery and completely neglect it for a couple of years, that's not a good thing. So with just very minimal effort, you should get many years of life out of the standard battery that comes in it.
And, at one time, rechargeable batteries, they said that, if you didn't run them down and then charge them all the way back up, that they wouldn't have, they wouldn't maintain their life very long. But that's not the case any longer with the batteries rechargeable batteries now. Nick Haas has got he said, can you give us a multiflex explanation? Just talk about those frequencies and how they run and how you can customize those.
Yeah, so good question on that. And again, multiflex, a lot of that, our thought in that name was the flexibility that it gives the user. There's a lot of people that are going to be very happy choosing just one single frequency. In other words, all the power, all the energy in that box is dedicated to that 5 kilohertz or 10 or 15 or 20. And our ATs have kind of been in the 13 to 18 kilohertz range. So this has just a broadband reach of possibilities of what you can search for. If you want to focus on, say, 5 kilohertz, that's going to do better on bigger targets and on high conductors, like a big silver coin is an example. Other end of the single frequency spectrum is 20 kilohertz. You're going to see higher numbers like that where people are gold prospecting or looking for kind of mid to lower conductivity targets, hammered silver coins. If I'm hunting with them for an AT Pro or AT Max, you think silver, oh boy, that's going to be 70s, 80s, big numbers. And those things read worse than aluminum foil. They're sorry little targets, but when you find them, it's just an incredible coin find, something that's 500 to 1,000 years old with that kind of detail. But it's because they're paper thin on that silver. So those can read really low. Tiny gold nuggets are going to read very low. So you need different energy for that. You need a higher frequency to do better on that. With the multi-modes, you can do a blend of frequencies and get excellent detection on all types of targets, little, big, all that good stuff, and help overcome different kinds of soil conditions and terrains. So that's, in a nutshell, to look at all targets and get excellent detection on all of them. That's something that people love about the simultaneous multi-frequency. And then with the simultaneous salt mode on Garret, that is set up so that you'll have better execution on that wet sand at the beach. Any beach, if you introduce enough volcanic black sand and salt and all that stuff, it's probably going to get to a point where you've got to go to a pulse machine. But our goal with this machine was to have better wet salt performance than some of our other single frequency or in this case, multiple frequency machines have done on salt. So that's the nutshell on that. Question, you get on that is why choose this? Why not just go multi all the time? It's user choice. It's having that flexibility to put it in the 5 kilohertz. If you know what you're looking for and what the odds are that you want to get the most possible depth on certain things, there's a chance of enhancing things in certain situations. The multi-frequency is going to get terrific depth. Another situation that could come up, if you're having really bad electrical interference or some other kind of situation there, you'd be more prone to having some issues in a multi-mode than in some cases going to a single frequency mode. So that's a reason you might want to switch around there. That's a rarity because with this machine we have what we call channels, and that's 8 channels per frequency, whereas some of the other Garretts in the past have had 4 frequency shifts. You've got 8 different frequency shifts per frequency setup. So essentially you get 48 different ways to operate this machine at different frequencies. So between all that, I think you can overcome, by and large, all the electrical interference that could potentially come up somewhere. So I hope that was a long roundabout answer. Hopefully answered some of the question there.
Were you ever able to find out how many of those frequencies are running in that multi-frequency mode? I know that question kind of came up, I think, during the American Digger podcast the other night. I don't know if it's just the high and the low, or...
I don't have the numbers in front of me. That's something, if we put all that out, we'll publish that as we get closer to putting the machine out. Some of the things we're literally, still field testing, refining a few things. So if I tell you one thing and we decide to bump a frequency a little bit that way or the other, I hate to give you bad information. So I'd say just stay tuned on that answer. But it is indeed multiple frequencies operating together. How many of them are intertwined, and if there's ones beyond the 4 that are as the singles, I just literally don't know offhand on what the final answer is going to be on that.
Yeah. Well, that'll be something that you guys will reveal as you get the documentation and everything out on this. And there's a lot of information that's still going to come out, a lot of questions that you perhaps have not seen coming, I hate to bail out Ohio Relic Hunter. I really ought to make him call in. He hates to call in, but I ought to make him. But he said, Steve, I love my AT Max. In your opinion, would I be better off with the Apex?
With an Apex over an AT Max?
Yes.
You've got 2 different machines there. The Apex is going to have a lot more variability, flexibility with all these frequencies, so that's going to open some different doors for you. Some of the features I mentioned, like the iron volume and cool things like that, unfortunately that's not on the current Max that's out there. So there's a lot of things about the Apex I love, and that I can't wait to spend more time in the field when we're more free to get out there in more places. But the Max, being a machine that's almost twice the price, it's full-on proportional audio, and it's really cranked up and hot on targets. It's hot to the point where it can be kind of chattery in certain environments because it's so sensitive. So, I'm going to expect the Max, if you have apples-to-apples size surge coils on it, to still be a superior performer on depth, because we have a hybrid machine here with a touch of proportional audio versus one that's full-on proportional audio, cranked up to really go deep on targets. So you should expect the Max to get better depth on a lot of your targets there and have some different options than what this has. So you're kind of comparing apples and bananas there, but 2 great machines in their own right.
Yeah.
I run all kinds. I will not quit running my Max. But I can tell you what, this year I'm going to be out with that Apex a whole bunch, because there's a lot of cool things about it that I just can't wait to spend more time with.
Well, I will speak on behalf of Ohio Relic Hunter Bill Marsh. He is an accomplished detectorist. He has years of experience, and I can't see that, somebody on the entry level, the Apex might be a better decision for them, but I don't know. I tell you what you need to do, Bill. You just need to buy you an Apex too, and then you have both of them to run with there.
If you're going to come in at the entry level, the Max for some people can be challenging because of all the sounds you hear and how sensitive and hot it is. Some of them end up having to turn the sensitivity down a little bit. The Apex is almost as easy to pick up as an old ACE 150 was. I mean, simple. I never had anything to go by the first time I picked it up. I just started pushing the buttons, ran through the menu options, and had it figured out in about a minute and a half of what all it could do. But at the same time, there's so much to play with, to pick and choose. It's got a lot of power for those that aren't just true beginners. So I think even some old timers will really get a kick out of some of the stuff that's on this machine.
Yeah. I tell you what, guys, we need to run to another commercial break right here. And when we get back, we're going to open up the phone lines. T-shirts are a perfect way to get your brand recognized, whether you're talking about a business, a club, a sports team, your YouTube channel, or whatever. But you may have asked, where can I get quality, affordable shirts on demand? Well, I'm glad you asked. RELICS RADIO uses Detectors.com for all of our T-shirts, long sleeve shirts, and hoodies. That's DETECTEES.com. Ken and Mark Guthrie make quality shirts that last, they ship quick, and best of all, they're affordable. So if you need customized apparel, then go to Detectors.com and be sure and tell them that RELICS Radio sent you. And yes, go check out Detectors. If you have a sports team or a metal detecting club, whatever you've got, they can custom make your shirts, and you're going to get the very best price and the very best quality. So check out Detectors.com. We have opened up the phone lines 270-495-0315, and I put it in the chat there. And go ahead and pick things up there, Ken, while we're waiting on the call.
Sounds good. I'm sure a lot of people are going to call in. I encourage everyone, if you're listening out there, go ahead and call in and ask Steve a question. Got him right here. He can probably answer better than anybody, I would think. Hey, let me ask you about the wireless capabilities of the ACE APEX. I know that you were saying that it would work with the MS3 headphones. Will it also work with the Pro Pointer AT Z-Link, all three together with just the internal transmitter?
Yeah, you can pair up your Pro Pointer and your headphones to it. And as far as the MS3 headphones, we will sell the detector with or without the headphones. If you opt for the other package, there's a savings of pretty good amount on the street price by buying up to get your headphones in the box. Or if you want to go the cheaper route, the street price in America will be closer to $425. It has on the back a 1/8 inch jack, which is different than some of our other detectors. That's a more standard jack that you could pop in different types of audio headphones other than just metal detector headphones. But we have an adapter that you can pick up if you need that to plug in so that your 1/4 inch headphones could plug into it. If you've got your tried and true XYZ brand headphones that you just love to death, well, you can go with that. So, or you can use, the Z-Link transmitter, attach your favorite wireless headphones through a Z-Link box and, pick up your signals that way. So you get a number of options from wired to unwired to MS3 to your choice,
Right, and current MS3, if we already have them, will work to pair up, or it's not like it's a special brand new pair of MS3 headphones that are only paired for the APEX.
Current MS3 headphones will pair up.
Yeah.
Any questions? Just holler at our customer service. But with this one, you just tap the menu button, scroll to the Z-Link button, and it's a plus or minus key. In some of the current Garrets, you have to hold down 2 keys to pair your headphones. This is just tap the plus button, and boom, red light goes solid, and you're paired up.
Awesome.
So my experience with it so far has been very simple.
Right. There's a good question in the chat room from AirMet Tango. He asks, I love the addition of the iron audio volume control of the APEX. That was the one thing that he really wished the AT Max had when he owned it. Does the iron volume control on the APEX have several intermediate steps, or is it a high or low, off and on only? How does that work?
Yeah, very good question. A lot of these settings on there have 8 different variable options on it. So number one, the overall volume has 8 options on that. So I can crank up the target volume of everything that I want to hear. But with the iron, I can also crank it up or down. So I can take it down to number 1, number 3, number 7, whatever you want. So 8 options on overall volume and 8 options on the iron volume. So pretty versatile to twiddle it around to get it just exactly where you want to hear it, especially for guys like me that are going deaf in one ear,
Hey, Steve, there was a question that I wanted to get into Monday night, and we completely ran out of time. I want you to talk about the elliptical coil on the Apex.
Yeah, we call it the Viper. We're kind of excited about it. It's kind of a hybrid, if you will, between the two most popular coils on the AT Pro and AT Max. The 8.5 11's a nice big field sweeping size coil on there. But then one of my favorites is the 5x8, a lot smaller coil, and I love using that on home sites and relic hunting in the thick forest where it's hard to get the big coil through the brush and the briars and the vines, and I'm one of those to go through the nastiest thickets and pop out some good relics, but you got to have the right coil for that. So this is a blend. When we go to England and go hit the iron patches and look for those little hammered coins, you got a lot of field to cover out there on some of those 1,000-acre farms. So you don't want to have too small of a coil on there. But when you get into the bad stuff, you don't want to have to reach in the backpack and stop and switch out coils. So you've got the skinny ability on an elongated coil, 6 inches on the narrow side by the same 11 inches length that we had on the big coil on the Max. So it's a good in-between. It's a real fast coil on separation, and it does really good in the iron. So I'm impressed with that size, So one size doesn't fit all for everybody, but this comes pretty darn close in my opinion.
Yeah, it does. And I was typing it whenever you said something, typing something in chat. I love that 5x8 coil. That stays on one of my AT Pros all the time. But I really like, and I don't know, there's just something about the elliptical coils that I really, really like. It seems like that, like you said, you can get it in between narrow places, like if you're hunting in a cornfield or something, and yet the length of it, you still are able to cover a lot of ground, aren't you? So you kind of got the best of both worlds.
That's kind of the way we see it, and that's one of the things we liked about it when the design factors were going on was, you can't have too small of a coil on there, unless maybe you're going nugget hunting, then you want a pretty small coil, but you don't want a big bulky coil on there either at the same time. So our goal was to lighten up the machine, which we did by quite a bit, and still get great coverage, but then the ability to get into those nasty areas and squeak out the goodies when you get into those patches of iron. So you got a coil that you can still separate very well with, and you got the ability to play all kind of games with the frequencies and with the sounds of that iron, with iron audio and iron volume and discrimination and all kinds of cool stuff going on. So it's a very versatile machine all the way around the board. So that's one of the big things I like about it.
Any plans, and I know that you guys are always thinking about the future, but any plans to take the Max to a multi-tap frequency, a brand new top-of-the-line detector coming out soon from Garret?
Yeah, I kind of alluded to that on the broadcast we did last week, that this is the start of things. Excuse me. It's not going to address every need of every person. I've already heard from plenty of people that, I wish it would go 25 feet deep and fully submersible and all that. We have an AT range that handles that, and, those are a little more expensive. So we understand the needs are there for all kinds of different hunting. And, in my opinion, I'm always looking for new and better and more innovative things. So I think we need to work on a lot of different products all the way across our product line. Don't accept what we've got as good enough forever. So could the AT series be freshened up and jazzed up with more features like different frequencies or other cool things? Oh, absolutely. I think that's something to consider. Do we need a new flagship high-end detector to work on that? Absolutely. So that and just half a dozen other things I could rattle off are in our minds, and Different things are on the drawing board and in the works as we speak. So I won't speak the timing of that to, get hopes up that you're going to have something next week or next month. But rest assured, we have plenty of ideas and plenty of plans of ways to improve our current product mix. Nothing wrong with what we have today, but if you sit back and think what you got's good enough, then you're kind of working yourself out of a job. So we always need to be getting creative and innovative on how to make things better, and listen to our people, listen to our customers, because we get plenty of input. As I mentioned, Apex is a result of lots of input, and for those that didn't get 100% of what they wanted on this machine, rest assured we hear you, and we're looking at other things we can do with other products as we go down the road.
Yep. Ken?
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone out there that's listening in that might not be in the chat room that our phone lines are open, and you can call in at this phone number, 270-495-0315. Feel free to call in and ask Steve Moore your questions. That'd be great. Hey, Steve, what kind of warranty are you offering on this machine?
That's our standard 2-year warranty on this machine. You're going to get more life out of it than that by a long shot, but full 2-year warranty, transferable if you move it to another owner. So as long as it's within the 2 years of its original sale, you're good to go. And our customer service is leading in the industry, in my opinion. From everybody I hear from, it's impeccable. If we have a problem, if something goes wrong, you know what, we just need to fix it. And if it's beyond the warranty, if you got an old machine you want to work on that's 10 years old, as long as we got the parts, we're going to work on it, and we're not going to try to gouge anybody. We're just going to get what it costs to get it shipped to and from and get the parts fixed. So we stand by what we do. As long as we can work on it and repair it and get you back into good hunting order, we're going to keep doing that for you.
Yeah. And you had mentioned that the machine is rainproof. Did you guys ever do any kind of testing on it, any kind of IPX testing or IP65, 66 testing for like non-submersion, some kind of water jet testing, anything on it at all?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't gone back up to the office to ask that question on the IP rating. I will get that, and we'll update the specs on our website. So I'm going to write that down along with that junior stem assembly kit once placed on there. How short will it go? So IP rating. Yeah, unfortunately, those marketing guys in the early stages of putting things out, you scratch your head and go, oh, man, we forgot to address that. So, yeah, I'll get the IP rating. It is much more rainproof and weatherproof than any of the other ACEs have been. So, we've had a couple of our guys out in rainstorms with it and had, zero problem with it getting wet or having any kind of problem with it. But it's higher rated than the ACEs. It is not submersible. The coil and the stem are for weighting, but the control box, you need to protect that and not dunk the control box. But you can get it soaking wet in the driving rain and not have to worry about that.
And we got Denny Morrison on the line. Hey, Denny, the floor is yours.
How you doing? Hi, Steve, Loy, and Kenny. How you all doing tonight?
We're doing good.
Doing good.
Very good.
Steve, I got a question for you, and it doesn't have to do with the Apex. I want to know, are you going to come out with anything better than the Garret pinpointer? Some of us old school guys like the old black ones where you just turn it on and hunt. Now you've got a pinpointer, you got 16 different settings on it, it vibrates, it dances, it does everything but pinpoint. I mean, I'm old, I want an old black one that I can just turn on and I find what I want to find. Is that too hard to get? And I don't want to buy one of these Chinese things that look black and say Garret on them, but ain't Garret's. I want yours.
Yeah, we fight that battle all the time. We've got overseas stuff where they put our names on it, and that's always a fight to try to suppress those folks and get them, stopped from doing what they're doing. But what would you like to see on it? I hear you saying you want to just simple, press the button and just pinpoint with it.
Yeah, I mean, I want it as strong as can be. I don't want to have to hit it 16 times so it gets hotter. I want it just to press it and go. And half the time mine's on vibrate. I got a buddy that just bought a brand new one, and he hasn't figured it out yet. I've set it up 3 times for him, and by the time he presses it 2 or 3 times, it's back to back of vibrating, and he can't hear it. Can't even feel it. So do away with all that stuff. Just give me a simple pinpointer that does what my black one used to do, and it's not made in China.
I'll tell you what, Denny. Bill's in the chat room. He said he'd train you how to use that Garret next time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I tell you what, I do like the Garret a lot because you can change it and you can turn off the audio, but I completely understand what you're saying about having a single button with multi-functions, and you hit it too long and it goes into the change mode and it starts changing your beeps.
Yep. Right.
So on the black one, I still have those. I've got the Pro Pointer too. I mean, like I said, I run all kinds of Garret stuff. And if I'm running out real quick, I'm like you. It's fine if I'm doing average lot hunting, just use the black one on, off, quick, find my target, done.
Yeah,
but when I want to get the retuning ability, it's hard to beat the Garret, because if I need to tune out saltwater, or if I've got a target I can't quite home in on, then I can just double tap it and tune down to where I've got the narrow focus on it. So I love that, and I use that orange one all the time for projects in the house, finding the studs and finding the nails, because I can retune it and get down to where I have to be on the nail head to find it, So, but I completely understand what you're saying about
I actually have figured out my orange one, but heaven forbid if I hit it more than I should on trying to narrow down the target, then I get to some screwy vibrating noise. What happened now? Give me my old black one back.
It's terrible to get old, ain't it, Denny?
I should send in all my black ones, because I've got them laying everywhere around here. They just finally wear out. Got my initials all over them, so yeah. You'd know who they were.
You know what? That's the one thing about the COVID thing. We had to work different hours out of our houses a lot to keep the social distancing. And man, I got more projects done around this house than I would have done in 2 years. And one of them was organizing all my metal detecting junk and getting these crates and putting my pinpointers and dig pouches and sand scoops and all this goodies and knee pads and gloves and junk together. And it's pretty organized now. I just throw it in the car and take off. I'm ready to go.
Mine's in the car now. I don't go anywhere without a metal detector, period. Even the wife knows that. The metal detectors are in there before she's in there, or even I.
Hey, guys.
We go to the beach once a year, and my wife and them know that underneath the floor of the van, there's going to be some metal detectors stuffed under there and scoops and all kind of stuff. And I'll get up and go at 4:30 in the morning when nobody's out there, and it's just my time and my solitude. But they know that's going to happen. I'm going to have a detector, and I'm going to disappear somewhere, for a while.
All right, Steve. Another good show. I listened to you on the American Digger also, and it was a good show. And this is a good one here too, Loy. So you did good.
Okay.
Mark, where's Mark at tonight?
You mean DK?
Yeah.
I'm over here. I'm just listening into the conversation.
I'm talking about Mark Hoover.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know where Mark's at. But thank you for
the alligators must have got him.
They may have. We appreciate the call, Denny. And guys, we've got another commercial break, our last one, and we'll be right back. If you want to keep up with what's going on in the metal detecting world, then you need to be a subscriber to American Digger magazine. Butch and Anita Holcomb are the publishers of the magazine and have won awards for 3 straight years for being the best digger magazine on the market. American Digger magazine is available in both print and digital formats, so no matter where you live in the world, you can enjoy the latest happenings in the hobby. You can get in touch with American Digger magazine by going to americandigger.com or give them a call at 770-362-8671. And be sure and tell them that you heard it on RELICS Radio. And as most of you know, I am the producer over at Relic Roundup on Monday night. So come on over and join us. We will be off this next Monday night because it is a holiday, but we'll catch you a week from this Monday. And we've got another caller on. We've got Tony from 5280 Adventures. What's going on, Tony?
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Everybody's fine.
Hey, Steve, I appreciate you coming on. I listen to the Monday show as well, and I know that you're really super busy, and I appreciate your time coming on these shows and letting us all know what's going on with the new machine and asking all kinds of questions and stuff. I wanted to take it in a little different direction. I actually know that you are an author, and I've enjoyed some of your books. And many people may not even know that you have authored some incredible books.
Well, thank you. Yeah, did you have a question on that, or just
No, well, I also wanted to thank you for your family's history down in Texas with Captain William Sadler. That's an incredible story. If anybody hasn't looked up that story right there, it's an incredible story about his commitment to the country and things like that. And I want to thank you for your family lineage and everything that you've done for the United States. I truly do appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate that. The family history is something that just I got intertwined in because, aside from just having relatives in the Civil War and interesting periods of our national history like that, I'm kind of unique that I had an early ancestor, a triple great-grandpa, and some others that fought in the Texas Revolution and, fought for this to become its own country and served as ranger captains while Texas was its own country in the Indian Wars and the frontiers. So when I get to go dig on some of those sites, they of course have more special meaning, digging up artifacts that some of my ancestors could have fired from their muskets here, And the newer stuff I've done, if you call it that, Special Forces or World War II, I mean, that's an honor to talk to these heroes and get their stories. And I've interviewed countless hundreds and hundreds of veterans. But they're going fast. The next book I've got coming out in September is on the kamikaze war off Okinawa, and I got to interview the last living American fighter aces that had 5 or more shoot-down kills of enemy aircraft.
Wow.
And these youngsters are 96, 97, 100 years old that I'm interviewing the past couple of years. And unfortunately, a lot of them have already passed, but I feel privileged to have spent time with them and got their stories and to put out their history so their kids and their grandkids can enjoy it, So we learn from what we've done in the past. Not everything we did in the past was correct by today's standards, but, you're going to repeat history if you don't learn from it. So I enjoy talking to these folks while I can still catch them and getting their stories. So appreciate the question. Thank you.
Yeah. What's the name of your new book, Steve?
Yeah.
It is called Rain of Steel. That was the equivalent of the Japanese word for the kamikazes raining steel down on the Americans and trying to sink all of our ships so that we could prevent Okinawa from being seized and then ultimately going to the Japanese homeland. So it was the final and the bloodiest conflict of the Pacific War. Many, many lives lost, many ships sunk because of the kamikazes. And the last line of defense were these fighter pilots that had to stop them from plunging through the ships and destroying the men and sinking the ships. So there's a picture of it up on Amazon, but it's not till mid-September when it comes out. But
September.
That's the next one coming up. So, again, thanks for your interest and appreciate your question.
Well, I like I said, I appreciate everything you do and keep doing what you're doing. And I'm looking forward to September for that book to come out. I'm going to get on Amazon and get that thing ordered.
Hey, Tony, you think you're going to buy yourself an Apex?
You know what, Ken? I already pre-ordered it a couple days ago. And I'm pretty darn excited, to be honest with you. I'm really hoping I can get one of the first ones that come out. I did it through a larger dealer, so my fingers are crossed. I definitely want to get out and try it. The feature that I really like the best is the rainproof or the weatherproof for out here in Colorado. We don't do a lot of, necessarily river hunting or lake hunting per se when I'm diving, but man, we can get those afternoon rainstorms or even the frickin' snow that comes down. And this will allow me still to be able to stay out there. Obviously, I have AT Gold and Pro, but I'm really anxious about this. I like the redesign. I've heard the coil's fantastic, and I'm just ready to get it in my hands.
Yeah, and obviously we had a lot of plans for this year, for the spring and going into the summer to really get out there and go to the rallies and the big hunts and let people, get a test lane and go try it out. But, we got to kind of follow the protocol with social distancing and wait until things are safe. And I'm crossing my fingers that by the fall we can get out and have some of these hunts again. But in the meantime, we'll just have to go virtual and put up videos and, let people get copies and try it out. But I'm optimistic. I hope we're going to get this thing fought back and be able to get out there in groups again at some point and enjoy the sport that we all love.
And Steve, Tony's put out some videos already on the Apex, talking about the features, and he even included some of our show. He reached out to me, I think it was Tuesday, and asked if it was okay to use part of that, and we contacted Butch, and Butch said, yeah, it was fine. And that one just came out when? Yesterday, Tony, or was that earlier this morning?
That one came out this morning, and it was really just concentrated on the weatherproofing. I'm pretty heavy on social media, just trying to keep up with everybody's questions and stuff like that. And it seemed like the biggest concern was that it wasn't waterproof. Everybody was complaining about that. And I really just went in with the video and said, listen, unless you're scuba diving, which obviously this isn't geared towards that,
right,
or you guys are out in the river, which the ACE series isn't geared towards that. I mean, having a weatherproof ACE machine is phenomenal. Plus, with all the new technology in it, I mean, this machine is just blowing up that entire series right there, and it's the pinnacle, like you say, it's the pinnacle of that series. I am so excited to actually get my hands in it.
And you've got go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say we understand that there's a lot of people, especially since we came out with the AT Pro, that have really jumped into hunting the lakes and the rivers and the shallow water, and there's a huge desire for that. So it's not for that to go submerged with it, but you can certainly hunt the creeks and all that as long as you don't get the box wet. But I'm not going to be running for the car to get a trash bag when the rain breaks out, because people that know me know that I'm foolish enough to stay out there all day in the rain. So I like that a lot, the weatherproof ability of it, just as I do with the AT series. But, I love hunting the water, but it's not something I do 90% of the time. There are people that do that, and if you're underwater 90% of the time, we understand that you need a fully submersible machine, but probably 90% of the people don't go under the water most of the time, and this is going to fit all the needs for quite a few people out there, So.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the time tonight. I'm going to jump off here and let you guys talk to some other people if you can. Steve, thank you for all your time in promoting this and getting the information out for us who we're really looking forward to the Apex. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Tony.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you for Tony. The call, and thank you for all that you're doing right now. There's a lot of people that are looking to you and to us and these shows and what have you. They're trying to gain as much information as they can, to determine if this is a good investment on their part. And I think it probably is. And you do too. You've already pre-ordered one. But thank you for the call, and thank you for all that you do.
We appreciate you guys doing this, because as you said, we can't get together in these big groups. We couldn't do our Garret hunt. We're still trying to figure out how far back to postpone that until it's safe. So people are going to turn to these kind of shows to get their information. So you guys keep doing what you're doing. And again, thank you for having me on tonight. I certainly appreciate it.
Yep. And, Denny Morrison, he asked if you were going to have the Garret hunt, but as of right now, that's canceled, and there's you don't know if you're going to have that, do you?
We are discussing whether we want to try to push it back to the fall and schedule it for a date that at this moment is not going to be 100% guaranteed, because nothing around this Texas area where we are is green light, go ahead, schedule, 500-600 person events. We could potentially move it back to just next year, next spring, but we're discussing that. Those that want to get their refunds back are welcome to do so, and when we make the announcement, whichever way we go, either way is unfortunate. I'd love to have it now or this fall, but we simply can't schedule it yet,
Yeah, and it's understandable. I mean, everybody's in the same boat. Diggin in Virginia, I go there every year, and all of that was canceled, and we don't even know if we have our American Digger show in Chattanooga in August, and as of right now, it's still on, but we don't know for sure that we're going to be able to do that. Everything's just up in the air.
People are kind of we're upset about our digging hunts and our rallies that are getting canceled and all that, but it's everything. I mean, because the other half of our business is trade shows and security and safety, and the big shows that we go to, 2-3 months they've been canceled. The ones for next month are canceled. The ones in July and August are still kind of, we'll wait and see. And even September trade shows that we go to, for 30 years, 50 years, they're uncertain at this point. So it affects everything, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have forgotten how big that Garret is in the security field. With the wands and everything that are used, well, just about everywhere. If you go into our Justice Center here, they've got a Garret wand that they run over you, to check for any weapons or anything like that. And, y'all are multifaceted.
Yes, what Charles Garret started, developed over time. And when he was asked by the FBI to start working on walk-through metal detector arches that could be used for the Olympics, he said, absolutely, we'll do that. And he put his engineers to work, and they pretty quickly mastered that and came up with some hand wands to do the secondary screening if they set off the walkthroughs. And we haven't looked back from that. And now you've got all these sports stadiums and concerts screening people that didn't do it 10 years ago for the most part, but our world's changed. We got some crazy people out there, and now it requires more security, and even in the school level in a lot of cases. So it keeps us busy on that side of the business just as much or even more so than sometimes we're able to do on the sports side, on the hobby side.
Yeah.
So,
Ken, you got anything else tonight?
Yeah, Steve, has there been any initial, I know you got it out in the hands of a lot of testers right now. Has there been any initial depth testing done with it at all, or are you really going to kind of rely on a lot of your testers to kind of pull that information in?
Oh, I've played around with a couple of our guys. We've done depth testing on it just for grins to see how it is, and it's powerful, but comparing it against some other brand or some other circumstance, it's not fair to do at this point because we're still making finesse changes on it. So I know enough to know with us, if we've got, a month or two before it's going out the door, a lot of things are going to be studied based on the results of what comes back from our field testers. But you can guarantee in its price range, it's going to be the apex of what's out there. So you should expect really good things on that. But you'll see field testers and the folks that get out there and start doing those videos. They'll do the air tests and they'll do the dirt tests. But I don't make that a habit of being my forte of doing that because there's plenty of folks that love doing it. So, but it has excellent depth. It does tremendous on all kinds of targets. I've tested, Indian head pennies, silver dimes, $50, silver dollar, mini balls, all kind of stuff, and very impressive depth. But yeah, hang tight. You'll see those videos coming from all those guys that do that in the near future.
Yeah, not that you need it. I watched a video of you recently, Steve, where you were out with North Texas Metal Detecting, and you called your shots on almost every target you hit. I think you pulled a silver quarter, and then you turned right around and pulled a silver half, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, like each silver coin I dug that day was different, and I looked at Cody and said, no one's going to believe this. They're going to believe this is just the most planted show ever because, we get plenty of that. All those Garret guys, they don't find stuff. They plant all that, whatever.
Right.
But it was blazing hot, and we just kept going and pulled a silver dime. We've been to one of these spots before, and I'd pulled 5 Wheaties out of there, and my other buddy Darren had pulled 4 or 5 Wheaties, and we're like, if there's 10 or 11 Wheaties in this area, there's got to be silver. So I finally worked it and pulled out one kind of beat up old dime, rosy, and then went to another patch, and then stuff just started coming up. And I made the comment, I was like, this is kind of funny, digging these silver dimes. I shouldn't complain, but it'd be nice to dig something bigger, like a quarter. And it wasn't 2 minutes later. I was like, hey, Darren, or hey, Cody. And he looked over at me and goes, you're not digging a quarter, are you? I go, well, come over here and look in the plug, And then I said, well, I'll dig a $50 next. And an hour and a half or so later, I got the $50, and he came walking over, shaking his head, said, "You're putting this stuff in the ground, aren't you?" And I'm like, I promise you, that's not me. I said, this will never happen again to call 2 shots like that. But yeah, anytime you get 5 or 6 silvers in one day, that's tremendous. So
yeah, it was a great video. You probably didn't help your case any, but it was a good video. I bet you people teased you a lot about that one. I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah. I wish we had the Apex at that point, but when we were out doing that, I had my son's. I had the AT Pro that day is what I was using. I still love that machine too. So like I said, I mix up what I go out with, but it was a blast.
Yeah. Any idea when this Apex is going to start shipping out to distributors and dealers?
Yeah, what we announced on the show last week was our plan is we announced it on May 15th. By July, mid to late July, we want to start having detectors going out the door. So we haven't put a specific date on there, but our goal was to make it, within right around 2 months of announcing it. We didn't want to announce it and go 6 months later on something coming out.
Right.
We've seen others do that, and people have a limit of how long they want to wait before they start getting kind of tired or frustrated that it's been too long. So we want to get it out in enough time to get some excitement going while people are kind of hanging out, waiting on something new, and still give ourselves enough time to make some last-minute changes, do some good field testing, and then roll it out when everything lines up just perfectly and looks like it's in the best possible position it can be.
Yeah.
So won't be long. It'll be this summer. So we appreciate the patience, and we also appreciate the excitement of everybody that's been communicating back to us.
Yeah, another quick question just came up in the chat room from Greg with Finding America was, what is the VDI range on the Apex? Is it similar to other machines?
It's a 0 to 99 scale on that, so it's going to be comparable to what you've gotten used to with our machines. I know other brands have a different system where it goes into negative numbers for ferrous things up to a lower positive number, if you will. But it's going to be the 0 to 99 scale that you're used to. So when you get to this machine, will every single target hit exactly the same as they hit on the AT Pro and AT Max? They're going to be very close. If they're not exact, they will be within a point or two of those numbers that you would expect a target to hit at. A nickel's not going to all of a sudden read 32 or something that you're not used to seeing on a Garret machine.
Yeah.
So it should be very familiar to our customers that have been around some of our AT products in the past few years here.
Very good. You've been a great guest, and we've kept you on for a little over an hour now. And I know that you're tired and strung out with this new release of the ACE APEX. But we do appreciate you coming on tonight, Steve, and discussing the new machine with us.
Yeah, thank you, Steve.
It's all good. I appreciate you guys having us, and we appreciate the supports of our customers and fans out there. And again, I hope we can see you at some of these events down the road, and you guys that haven't tried our machine or this new one, hopefully we'll have some test lanes and you guys can get out and come see us. But until then, we got the videos and we got shows like this to keep us all together and excited about the future. So keep doing what you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
We may have to have you back on when your book comes out and just do a whole show on that. I think that'd be interesting.
Well, give me a shout. I'm always around, and I can talk books as much as I can talk metal detectors.
That sounds great.
I'll let you have your say, DK, and then I'll close the show out. And, Steve, hang on the line. We'll say our goodbyes after we close the show.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Seven. Yeah, everyone in the chat, thanks for showing up tonight. Thanks for being a part of the show, calling in, and all your questions are really great. I think we're all looking forward to the Apex getting into people's hands, and it's always exciting when that happens, and looking forward to swinging. I'm glad to hear Tony ordered one. He's not too far from me. I think I'd be able to go over there and play with that thing for a little bit. So, Tony, look forward to me knocking on your door for that for sure. But, yeah, Steve, thanks so much. And everyone, DK with Adventures in Dirt, head on over and check out my YouTube channel in service of the metal detecting community. When you get a second, we'd love to see you over there. Seven, it's all yours.
Okay. And thank you, Steve, and thank you, all of you that came in and listened tonight, those of you that will listen on the archives as well. Everybody in the chat, those of you that made the calls into the show, we just appreciate all of it. And by the way, American Diggers Relic Roundup will not air this Monday night because it's holiday. We're going to spend time with our families, and we wish you a wonderful Memorial Day with your family as well. Stay safe out there, but me and DK will be right back here on RELICS Radio next Thursday night. We'll see you then. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on RELICS Radio. We really do appreciate it. Be sure and join us live each Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern here on Spreaker, or you can catch the archive show at RELICS Radio on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Podcast, and many other podcast outlets. Please take a minute and hit the like button, and be sure that you follow us so that you'll get notifications of all of our upcoming broadcasts. Be sure and visit Diggin with 7 and Adventures in Dirt on YouTube, and check out the RELICS Radio Facebook group page. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then send an email to relicsradio@outlook.com. We'd love to hear from you. We hope that you will join us next Thursday night, and until then, get out there and dig some history.